a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint. Now, today the Morning Watch is brought to you by Chris and Charles Investments. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Teachers. The Chris and Charles double deal is here for you. Borrow $1 million from Chris and Charles and get 30% off your processing fees. Pay less than $25,000 monthly or borrow $575,000 and pay $12,595 monthly. No guarantor needed. Conditions apply. Offer ends May 31, 2023. Call 876-920-4189 for details. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch, the drones are here for the lawful and the lawless. In the second watch, do you remember ways to improve your memory? For our social media question, we ask, are you familiar with any early detection signs or symptoms that your memory could be failing? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
Good morning. So, today's I quote is an island quote, and it says, doing the right thing isn't always easy. In fact, sometimes it's hard. But just remember that the right thing is always right. And this is by David Cottrell.
All right. Good morning, Sir Jokan.
Good morning.
Doing okay, my brother?
Yeah, man, I'm good. All is well.
Yes, I'm taking note of that quote, especially the section about remember.
Right.
Because as you know, we're going to be looking at that
memory.
Topic. Yes. By the way, when was the last time you couldn't remember something?
It's...
Or is it that you don't remember?
Don't remember. You see, you know.
That's it, Joker.
Got me.
Right. The first watch will be back after this break.
The Walton Park New Testament Church of God presents Higher Place, Perfecting the Art and Heart of Worship, a conference and a vertical worship experience. Andrea Roberts. When a man loves a woman. But let's take that from the single man's perspective. Grab a seat and join the Man Them Table Talk this Wednesday, June 28th at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Yes, strong man, integrity man, I am a man.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station. This Wednesday, listen for a repeat broadcast of the interview with the Most Honorable Juliet Holness. That's Good Morning Minister this Wednesday, June 28th at 11 a.m. on Love 101, the family station.
Good Morning Minister is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, drones have been in Jamaica for a while, and we have seen them being used for various purposes. But apparently for years, it's not all for legal intent or with wholesome objectives. Criminals are using drones to nefarious ends. In addition to the legal framework, what are the regulations, therefore, in place for the use and ownership of drones? Well, here to talk with us today on this topic is Captain Peter West, Manager, Flight Operations Oversight in the Flight Safety Department of the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. Good morning, Captain West.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. And
Great,
actually,
good to have you this early in the morning with us.
Yes.
Yes. Captain? What really are drones, and how are they different from, let's say, a remote-controlled helicopter?
All right. I'm not going to get too technical with the definition, but primarily, the drone is what is called an unmanned aerial vehicle. Now, in terms of the use, that is where the distinction comes into play. Now, the drone, by the way, is also regulated to some extent by regulations, and a toy, like for example, a remote controlled aircraft and so on, those are not regulated. Now, the main difference is the use. Now, a drone, incidentally, the first known recorded drone in history was actually in 1914, which was the First World War, where they were experimenting with using unmanned aircraft, so to speak. And it has progressed through the years, and today, the technology that is used in drones are not entire airplanes, so to speak. And the drones, as we know, they can be used for aerial photography, aerial surveying, a myriad of different uses. So that is the difference between a drone and, say, a hobby aircraft or a toy aircraft. It's the use.
The use. So, because you said drone is an unmanned aerial vehicle, right? So a toy plane, a helicopter, stuff like that are also unmanned aerial vehicles.
Correct.
But you are saying the difference is what the drone is used for.
Precisely.
Oh my. Okay. How widespread is the use of drones in Jamaica today, Captain? And when did they really become popular?
All right. I joined the Civil Aviation Authority in 2015, and later in that year, we had gotten a few calls from entities requesting to use the drone for commercial purposes, for aerial photography and so on. Now, we did not have regulations in place at the time. So in 2015, we did not allow a lot of these activities. However, in 2016, we started to get quite a bit of calls and requests from entities and individuals. And what we did is, with not having drone regulations in place, we looked at our existing regulations, 2012 Jamaica Civil Aviation regulations, and we looked at Regulation 64, which allows written approval from the authority for activities such as aerial photography, aerial survey, and so on. So we developed a permit system. Now, that permit system allowed the industry to develop and to grow in the absence of regulations. And what we had done in parallel, we had drafted drone regulations, sent it to Parliament for approval, but at the same time, we used the permit system to allow it to develop. And I can tell you, and in 2016, mid-2016 to late 2016, we developed what is called flight safety notifications on flying drones in Jamaica. That was put out to the public, and that gave guidelines under which drones can be used. Two sectors, privately or recreationally, and as well as commercially. And the numbers exploded. And it was not unusual for us to be producing by mid-2017 up to about 30, minimum of 30 permits per month. And that is how the industry had grown. And we saw the need to have a forum. So we had a forum, I believe it was in 2017, at the authority, and it was well attended. And it has continued in that direction. It is growing.
So anecdotally, just off the top of your head, how many drones do you think are in Jamaica now, at least?
Well, what we can account for are for those individuals who have written to the authority for permission. And as you are well aware, there are several individuals who own their drones privately.
Yes.
And whereas the recreational part of the industry, it does not come with a lot of restrictions. For example, for somebody who has a recreational drone, you are not allowed to fly in the airspace of another, whether public or private property, without permission. So it's a case where you cannot use a drone recreationally within certain distances from persons, property, and so on. It's all a matter of safety. So there are guidelines on how you can conduct yourself recreationally. In addition to that, you're not allowed to fly within 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles of an aerodrome, helipad, or in no-fly zones or prohibited or restricted airspace. You're not allowed to do that. On the other hand, for commercial users, it's far more restricted. You have to have a permit. And in the permit, there are similar guidelines as to what you can do, what you can't do. But there is provision if you need to have activity within the 5 kilometers of an aerodrome or certain special use airspace. We get special permission from us under certain strict guidelines. So that is how we guide the industry. Howard, going back to your question as to how many drones are here, we are not 110% sure of the numbers because a lot of persons would buy a drone to use recreationally. They would purchase it overseas. They would come into the country. And when we have the regulations in place, because it's still in draft awaiting approval, there is a process which is called drone registration. That way now, individuals of drones of a certain size and weight will have to register with the authority. And with that, they are given a special mark. So we would know who these drones belong to.
Yes.
So we're still in an emerging industry.
Yes, yes. And I see that you wanted to tell us a lot about the regulations. So please go ahead now and tell us more about these regulations in regards to the drone ownership and use.
Right. What it is essentially is the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, which manages aviation globally. And they do have standards and recommended practices. So they do have guidelines for the use of drones. Now, member states like Jamaica, we do adhere to these standards and recommended practices. So what we have done is we now have draft regulations in place.
Captain West, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, sir. We are up on a break. Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Will do. Okay, thanks.
Play your part in helping us become rock solid and ready. For more information on the National Natural Disaster Risk Financing Policy, visit mof.gov.jm. The time by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is
7:15 and a half.
Family growing?
Yeah, time to make a move. Stand on the music, man.
Need your own space?
Time to make a move.
Make your move with a mortgage from Sagicor Bank. Get an affordable interest rate, discount on home insurance, plus a $2 million line of credit that you can use to fix up, furnish, or add your own personal touch. Apply for your mortgage from Sagicor Bank and make your move. Conditions apply.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
There's certain moments in life you'll cherish forever. Like buying your first car, stepping into your first home, sending your child to university, starting that business you've always dreamed of. These are your great moments, and helping you achieve them is ours. Call Chris and Charles today. We have a loan for all the great moments in your life. Powering great moments since 1992. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Sharing the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Learning about credit cards. There's a lot to learn about credit cards, but here are some frequently used terms to help you on your journey. APR. This is the interest rate for outstanding amounts expressed as an annual percentage rate. Annual fee. This is a fee cardholders are charged every year for having the facility of a credit card. This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Follow Grace Sardine, better flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. You all of them nice. Pass the part, make push it.
Grace Sardines, follow the better flavor.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the first watch, we're looking on the whole matter of drones being right here in Jamaica. We're acknowledging the fact that both drones are being used for lawful as well as unlawful purposes. And we have online Captain Peter West, Manager, Flight Operations Oversight at Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. Before the break, Captain, you were telling us about the regulations. Just recap and then continue, please.
Yes, and just to clarify, I'm currently the acting manager.
Oh, yes.
So with the regulations, it's in Parliament in draft form, and we're waiting the final approval of it. Once it comes into play, now the owners of drones, particularly of a certain size, they will have to register with the Civil Aviation Authority. Once you have registered a drone, you will be given a particular marking which is placed on the drone itself. Now, that marking indicates who owns the drone. It's similar to an aircraft. If you look at an aircraft or a picture of an aircraft, you'll see a particular series of either numbers and letters. That is that specific marking. Similar thing will happen, so we can know who owns the drone. Now, once you have the drone, you have to undergo formal training. Now, a lot of people get a drone, go on a football field, spend an hour or two, and feel like they are competent with it, right? That's not the case. The industry will be regulated. So you'll have to go to an approved training organization, one, and that training will encompass classroom training as well as practical training. at the end of which a test is done, and you would be issued a drone license, or it's called sometimes a US license or UAV license. Now, that license, the individual, when flying the drone, will have to have that license on their person. So that now gives the person a legal right to fly the drone, particularly those who are interested in using it for commercial purposes. Now, with the license, there is recurrent training. And what it means is that you have to show competency in flying the drone over a period of time. For example, you may be required to do recurrent training once a year, and that will ensure that you do have the competency to fly the drone. Now, as part of the training, you'll be aware of the other requirements of the regulations. Now, having had the license and you're trained, under certain circumstances or certain guidelines, so to speak, if you wish to operate commercially, then the authority now, if you're an individual or you're a company or some other entity, the authority will now certify you to use this drone. And what it means is that you will be given certain guidelines to adhere to, and also in certain airspaces. So you'll be authorized to operate under certain conditions. So it won't be a case where, because I have a license, I want to fly the drone near the Toussaint Pen at Marcus Garvey Drive or so on. That's not the case. There are certain guidelines that you must adhere to. Now, as part of the regulations, this is very important now, we have what are called breaches. Fines. If they are breaches to the regulations, they are corresponding fines. And what it does is to ensure that individuals adhere to the requirements and the regulations. So, for example, if someone should not fly the drone, for example, in a manner that will affect aircraft flight path, that's one, that may create a potential collision. Once that is reported, and then we'll now have to take what is called an enforcement action. Now, with that enforcement action, depending on the severity of the action, you may also end up in court. That is how severe the fines are. And it is essential that we put these safeguards in place, because we all know what can happen with a drone. Somebody can use a drone for malicious intent. And I will say this to you, because the security aspect of it is not our mandate, I will not venture into that field.
So give us an idea of the fines and penalties.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to give a specific figure because it's in draft form and it may be revised from time to time. But what will happen is when the regulations have been approved, they will be made known to the public.
Because a drone can create a flight accident, right?
It can. And some of us and our listeners may have been aware of sometimes some news items where, like for example, I think some years ago, there was an individual flying a drone near Heathrow Airport in London, and they actually had to close the airspace for a particular period of time until they could locate who the owners were, which they did, I think, after a week or two. But so that is the severity of it. So we have to put measures in place that individuals do not willfully go and create problems in the industry.
What other nefarious activities are drones used for? I gather that even in the SOEs, some of the criminals were able to know exactly where the military and police were stationed.
Well, as I say, I don't want to venture in that area, but I can give you a broad idea. The drone itself, the batteries don't last more than 20 minutes. And so in other words, then, they cannot go too far from where the person who is flying the drone, and again, it depends on the type of drone. So, for example, if criminals are flying the drone near a particular area that is under surveillance by the security forces, and they can see that drone is not too far away from the individual. So they could actually trace it and go back. And and again, to the question that you mentioned, once you have a particular technology, there are persons who will use it lawfully and unlawfully. So what we need to do is to have mitigating measures to prevent that. Now, the security forces are very aware of the use of drones, and actually, when we actually provide permits to certain individuals in certain areas, they are also aware because in certain airspaces, which is prohibited and controlled by the security forces, permission has to be received from them before we issue a permit. And so they are fully aware of who is authorized. And the other thing is this: once you're operating a drone, particularly commercially in certain locations, or it doesn't really matter the location, you are bound to have that permit on your person. Now, if the drone pilot does not have his permit on him to indicate that authorization has been given, the security forces would have the right to confiscate or to challenge. And I have known of such cases in the last couple of years. There's one individual who was found flying a drone, and the owner for the property alerted the police. He was accosted. I was contacted and to confirm that whether he had a permit or not. He did not have the permit. So he was taken to a police station for processing.
The permit is for what, Captain? I mean, if you are using it privately and not commercially,
yes,
even recreationally,
well,
you need a permit for that?
No, there's no permit for the private user, but there is the flight city notification that gives you strict guidelines under what premise you can use a drone. Similarly, on the commercial side, you're given a written permit with specific location, times, dates, heights to fly the drone, and you're authorized to operate within those parameters only. So it's a tightly controlled measure for commercial activity. Again, the recreational side of things is not as closely governed, but it has enough restrictions and guidance in their recreational procedures for them to be within the law, so to speak.
What if someone is flying or manning, operating a drone? It's not in my space, not in my area of residence, but I'm concerned that the person is perhaps still spying, still looking over my property for whatever reason. Is that justifiable reason for taking it to the law?
Well, put it this way: if you believe that your personal safety is being infringed, and bearing in mind, the recreational, for example, recreational guidelines, somebody who does not have a permit, they cannot operate the drone in either public or private space without the permission of the manager or the owners. For example, recreational parks, you may have like Emancipation Park. You cannot just go there and use your drone. You have to get permission. So that is one of the restrictions that we have with that. So if somebody sees a drone flying and they feel that their privacy is being invaded, they have all right to get in touch with the police. And one of the things I want to mention is that there are times we get complaints and so on. It's a civil matter. It's not a civil aviation matter. We do not have the mandate to actually manage those type of incidences. So we do refer the individuals to get in contact with the police and then have it dealt with from that angle. Because currently we don't have the regulations in place to take action.
Yes. What's the future now of this drone technology in Jamaica? What are your concerns going forward and commendations?
All right. Very good question. No, technology has, well, they say technology is renewed almost every 18 months. And that includes drones. Drones, which had a particular technology, say 2015, 2016, they have gotten so advanced, it's not funny. They have become very advanced. Not only that, they have also been, in some cases, smaller in size. And the uses have been, as it's very wide. Now, where is it going in Jamaica today? Currently, the commercial sector is growing exponentially. We have almost a lot of entities, whether government, civil entities, for example, land surveyors, the entertainment industry. Everybody's using the drone. When you have sporting activity, the media houses, everybody is requesting permits from the authority. And in some cases where there's construction, because Jamaica is doing a lot of construction island-wide, we'd have the construction companies asking for permits so they can monitor the progress of construction as it goes along.
Yeah, 30 seconds, Captain. Sorry.
Yes. The next area that we are looking at, and we have gotten a lot of requests, is drone delivery, we have not been looking at that right now because we are actually awaiting the approval of the regulations, and then we can now see how best we can implement it safely between airspace and the different locations in conjunction with aircraft flight path.
Okay. All right. So drone technology is here to stay, and we just need to continue to regulate it properly. Thank you so very much. Very informative discussion, Captain Peter West. Have a productive day, sir.
And same to you, and same to your listeners.
Great. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
JN Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Bank Small Business Loans is
7:31.
At Flow, we are determined to get it right. Now, over 60% of Jamaica has access to our fiber fast network, with over 800 communities being upgraded since 2020. And there's more to come. Everything we're doing is inspired by our harshest critic, you. Join Jamaica's fiber fast network and rediscover Flow today.
If you have financial needs, Mr. Charles will fix them for you. Power in great moments since 1992. Oh, we have it all. Power in great moments. Relax, you got Chris and Charles. Oh, we have it all. When you need alone, think Chris and Charles.
Rise with the sun and face the day with some Lasco instant chocolate. Pull a pack, stir it up. Hot or cold, enjoy the chocolatey goodness any time of the day and unleash instant smiles, instant happiness.
Importers, shipments requiring you to pay customs duties and taxes are cleared on a customs goods declaration known as an IM4 or IMS4. Ask your clearing agent to provide your customs declaration, customs assessment notice, and customs receipt once duties and taxes are paid. Where your clearing agent may not be able to provide the IM4 or IMS4, request your customs goods declaration registration number or C number, which can be used to verify your payments. Importers, request your IM4, IMS4, or C number. It is your right. For details, email the Jamaica Customs Agency at public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Downswell Records in association with Best Dressed Chicken presents the Kevin Downswell album launch and concert featuring John Mark Wiggins, Sarge, Alicia Taylor, Shane Mays, DJ Reaper, DJ Sticko, Jermaine Cohen, and O'Neal Watson. Tickets $7,000, VIP $10,000 with preferred seating and food. SpurOakland.com/the album launch Saturday, July 1, 5:30 p.m. The Ambassadors, 63 Hagley Park Road, Kevin Downswell. This is a can't miss.
You work hard to make Jamaica a first-class destination. Isn't it time you receive the 5-star benefits? Retire smarter with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, a portable plan that also provides your family with financial security in case of your untimely death. It's easy, affordable, and accessible online. Retire and relax with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. Visit twps.myguardiangroup.com or call 876-927-4105. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. Jamaica advanced to quarterfinals of Lacrosse World Championships. Also in the Gleaner, body of missing Westmoreland firefighter found in river. In the Observer, pole warfare. Survey shows PMP ahead. JLP rejects data as fictitious and contrived. Also in the Observer, ATL goes big after EV market. In Loop News, tourist dies in Jamaica after trying to drink 21 cocktails. Wow. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we read some of the feedback from our social media question. Are you familiar with any early detection signs or symptoms that your memory could be failing? Again, are you familiar with any early detection signs or symptoms that your memory could be failing? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
When a man loves a woman. But let's take that from the single man's perspective. Grab a seat and join the Man Them Table Talk this Wednesday, June 28th at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
I am a man, yes. Strong man. Integrity man. I am a man.
When I wake up in the Waltham Park New Testament Church of God presents Higher Place, Perfecting the Art and Heart of Worship, a conference and a vertical worship experience. Pastor Andrea Roberts, Joel Notice, from overseas, Isaiah Raymond, and O'Neill Watson. Hosted by Nadine Blair. Admission is free. Just take an offering. It's Wednesday, June 28th at 65 Waltham Park Road, New Testament Church, 6:30 p.m. It's a conference where you will learn, you will grow, you'll be taken to a higher place. Don't miss it.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station. This Wednesday, listen for a repeat broadcast of the interview with the Most Honorable Juliet Holness. That's Good Morning Minister this Wednesday, June 28th at 11 a.m. on Love 101, the family station.
Good Morning Minister is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. Are you familiar with any early detection signs or symptoms that your memory could be failing? Jokal?
All right, so I do have a response here from Edna. Because of Edna for always responding. Edna sent a voice note. Let's hear what she is saying today.
Good morning, Morning Watch. Good morning, Love 101 listeners and staff. Yes, the brain actually works like the computer. You put in, you get out. Okay, for me, I know certain age our brains start to fade. Yes, including mine right now, because sometimes with me, if I decide I'm gonna put the ice cream in the refrigerator, and I change my mind after, so I gotta leave it on the table. When I'm ready for the ice cream, couple minutes or hours after, the first place I eat for the ice cream is the fridge, even though I did not put it in the fridge, I leave it on the table. So yeah, our brain fade, and we often carry on things, but sometimes it eventually comes back to us. That's how our brains work, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. That was from Edna in Montego Bay. And that's the final one we have here.
Okay. What an interesting example you're given by Edna. Yes, as we now segue into the second watch. How does one know the difference between a simple memory slip and a memory-related disease. Is there something that a person can do to stop memory loss? Well, recently, in an article in the newspaper, Dr. Orlando Thomas talked about memory impairment and offered tips on how to improve one's memory. And so to discuss this very important issue this morning, we have Dr. Orlando Thomas, who is a medical doctor, functional medicine practitioner at Thomas Medical Center. Good morning, Dr. Thomas.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners, and congrats to Love 101 on their 30th year of being on air, and I have been a listener for 30 years.
Okay, sir. On behalf of the entire staff and management, thank you very much, and continue listening. Good that you are now actually on Love FM. Let's see if we can unravel this whole matter of memory loss, Dr. Thomas. And I want to begin by asking, at what stage does a memory slip up, I want to call it that, become a major concern? For example, what was given, the example given a while ago by the caller, or if 2 hours from now I forget the name of someone who was introduced to me, is that a major concern?
No, not necessarily, but all of us will have memory slips every now and then at any age. And there is a fine line, not a well-defined line, between when it becomes a problem and when it's just a regular memory slip-up. There are a couple of things that you want to look out for. One of them is that you keep asking the same questions over and over again. You keep getting lost in places that you know very well. You're having difficulty remembering things like recipes, how to cook a meal that you've cooked all your life. You're getting confused about the time and about people, and you're not taking care of yourself because you're forgetting to brush your teeth and bathing. So when these things become recurrent, then you know it's time to visit your doctor because it's becoming a problem.
Yes, Dr. Thomas, still there?
Yes.
Okay. So to tell us some more symptoms then. You mentioned about forgetting to brush the teeth. Persons keep asking the same questions. Anything else we need to look out for?
Yes, you're getting lost in places that you're familiar with. And even in your house, you go into a place and you're sitting around multiple times trying to remember what you went for, and this is becoming recurrent. It happens occasionally. When it comes recurrent, when you have difficulty, counting money and doing transactions, when these things become recurrent over and over again, then you know it's time to get it checked, because it's not well defined as to when it becomes abnormal. But if it's becoming recurrent and it's affecting your ability to function in your job or at home, then you have a problem.
What are the major causes of memory loss, Doc? How are they determined or differentiated?
So memory loss, the medical term for it is amnesia, right? That's the general term for memory loss. And memory loss has a variety of causes, and they may include things like brain injury. You get a head injury. It could be a degenerative brain condition like dementia or Alzheimer's. It could be related to drugs that you've taken in the past or are now taking, even things like alcohol. It could be related to deficiency in nutrients in it, like B vitamins. It could be related to stress and just, not getting enough rest. These are some of the common causes of memory loss.
And do demographics play any major role in this, in regards to gender, stuff like that, age?
Well, the major demographic that's going to affect memory is going to be age. As people get older, their brains will accumulate damage from stress and things they consume. They may get poor blood flow to their brain if they're hypertensive or diabetic, and persons who are involved in sport. So as persons get older, their memory tends to get worse. Persons who are involved in sports, for example, like American football and rugby, where they have head injuries, these people have a higher rate of memory loss than the average population. So if involved in a contact sport, even boxers and so on, very high rate of memory loss as they get older. Persons who are alcoholics, drug abusers, they have a higher rate of memory loss. And so,
hold that thought, please. Hold that thought, please, Dr. Thomas. You're up on a break. We'll be right back.
Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody
Great sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You can more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Juicy, are you real party bro? Everybody, get the door, burn up your Juicy, have the best patties. What flavor them fling panny? Love it, freshly baked, the flaky crust. Baby, full me good, the gas a bus. Shrimp or veggie patty, whoa. Juicy, have the flavor you love. Chicken or plant-based patty, whoa. Juicy, are you real party bro? Juicy, have the patty, them Jamaica love. Get it today, Island White.
There's certain moments in life you'll cherish forever. Like buying your first car, stepping into your first home, sending your child to university, starting that business you've always dreamed of. These are your great moments, and helping you achieve them is ours. Call Chris and Charles today. We have a loan for all the great moments in your life. Powering great moments since 1992. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles. Breast cancer is real. Cervical cancer is real. Heart attack and stroke are real. And so are pregnancy complications. As a woman, if you are hit with one of these critical illnesses or complications, your whole life can be turned upside down. Total Women Insurance Plan gives you real insurance protection for up to 15 major critical illnesses, life insurance, and other benefits, including free cancer screening. Get serious about your coverage. Get real protection with Total Women Insurance Plan from Sagicor Life.
Make money now with local City and Guilds and ABE endorsed certificates and Distinction College. Start new online and face-to-face classes very soon. Make money now career courses and get qualified jobs worldwide or start your own business in practical pediatric, geriatric, and psychiatric nursing, phlebotomy and pharmacy technician, early childhood education, childcare, cashiering, call center, event planning, receptionist, customer service, housekeeping, laboring, food preparation, bartending, guild making, plumbing, modern labor, electrical installation, air conditioning, makeup, hairdressing, nail technician, and cosmetology. No subject required, no 8 limits. Register this week and get City and Guilds Math and English classes for free. Call us at 1564167.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the second watch, we're looking on the whole matter of memory loss. And in so doing, we have online Dr. Orlando Thomas, medical doctor and functional medicine practitioner. Dr. Thomas, before the break, you were telling us about some of the major causes like, let me see now, brain injury, degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's,
alcoholism, deficiencies in B vitamins, even omega-3 deficiencies. Lots of
stress and loss of sleep.
Yeah, and for that one, I want to spend a little time just talking about that. For Jamaicans, specifically, our society is a high-stress one. So it translates into a lot of mild cognitive impairment or mild memory loss as we get older. So it is not unusual for my patients, for example, to keep forgetting their medication, forgetting their appointments, forgetting a lot of things. I talk to them every day, and I think one of the major causes in our population is stress. And you're also asking about the demographics. I didn't get to speak about males and females because there is a difference between how males and females relate to memory issues. Males, for example, have more mild memory impairment than females because they have so many risk factors. They consume more alcohol, they're more to get brain injuries and so on. But females tend to have more dementia related to old age and Alzheimer's because females generally live longer than males. So early memory loss, mild memory loss, definitely more males.
And of course, males tend to be more involved in contact sports.
Definitely.
Yeah. What is the worst case scenario, Dr. Thomas, out of memory loss, amnesia? How detrimental can it become?
So, Mr. Toussaint, listen now. If you were to make a list of all the diseases that you could possibly get, the last one on the list you want to get is dementia or Alzheimer's dementia. Why? Because when you have that disease, you lose your memory of those you love. You lose memory of your accomplishments. You lose even memory of your own person. The ability to take care of yourself, to brush your teeth is lost. So when you develop dementia, you lose everything. That is the worst case scenario because I have patients who weren't able to remember their own daughters and sons, couldn't remember what their name was, couldn't remember where they lived, couldn't remember what their childhood and adulthood was like. This is a devastating disease for the patient and for the relatives looking on who have lost their relatives right before their eyes, even before they die.
How sad that can be and is. Treatment options, Dr. Thomas, and the practical techniques, if any. Want to share those with us?
Well, treatment for dementia has not improved a lot over the years. Alzheimer's, for example, was discovered in 1901 by a German doctor, and between then and now, there has been very little advance in treating the disease successfully. So once you get it, you're kind of, at a very critical stage of just heading downward. Until recently, there are some breakthroughs in a few medications and in a new technique called shockwave therapy that's coming to Jamaica soon, where they have been seeing significant benefits for persons with dementia getting these treatments. Not yet available in Jamaica or in the Caribbean, but Thomas Medical Center may be the first place to bring it to the Caribbean, and we're hoping to do that this year. In terms of
hold on there, Doc. The shock, he said shock what? The shock therapy?
Shockwave therapy.
And it's literally that? I mean, eh?
No, it's not electric shock. It's acoustic shock waves, high frequency ultrasound used to stimulate blood flow in the brain. And early studies have been very promising. Up to 90% of patients respond positive to this treatment, but it's not yet approved or available in Jamaica.
And what are the side effects of that?
Absolutely zero so far. Absolutely no side effects. It's amazing. It is like a miracle. That's what they're calling it. So persons can jump online and research shockwave therapy for degenerative brain diseases, and it's absolutely amazing the studies that they are doing in Switzerland and Germany. Some stories I've been hearing of persons who couldn't walk.
Should persons employ this even before being diagnosed with any of these diseases?
Well, no, it's going to be administered by a physician who would have to diagnose you first and then prescribe the treatment. You don't want to go preaching yourself with these techniques that are still experimental, but so far pretty safe without having a doctor diagnose you. It's not at that stage where we open it to the general public.
Okay. Yes, other treatment options and techniques.
Well, treatment is going to really be emphasizing prevention, Mr. Toussaint. You're going to really want to try to prevent this thing before it starts. And there are a number of things that people can do to improve their memory and preserve their memory. So I'm going to start out with some simple ones. One is exercise. And I put this at my number one thing you can do to preserve and maybe restore a little bit of memory.
Okay, exercise.
walking, jogging, cycling, gardening, farming, swimming, any exercise at all you can do will improve brain blood flow and improve the size of a part of the brain we call the hippocampus. That's what controls memory encoding. And this has been shown to prevent persons from becoming demented over time. That's one. Two, you want to look at your diet dial, because by your diet, you can cause memory loss. Diets high in animal fat, sugars, and processed food is bad for your brain. But diets high in colored foods, like your cherries and berries and raspberries, and even the Jamaican fruits like star apples and your mangoes and oranges, these foods that are yellow and orange and red and purple, these are antioxidant-rich foods which protect your brain cells from aging and memory.
Some of the fruits you mentioned there could have concerns in terms of diabetes.
Well, yes, they're going to be doing it in moderation. We recommend 4 servings of fruit per day. So I don't recommend anybody sit down and eat 12 mangoes in one go.
Mango season now too.
Known for doing. You're going to send your sugar up there. And there are other foods that are pretty sweet. So for diabetic patients, your pineapples and your gooseberries are going to be ones that you want to keep low on the list and elevate things like your papayas and your guavas and so on.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah, apart from diet and exercise, you definitely want to be sleeping well. Sleep is essential to memory. You get memory taken from temporary to permanent when you sleep. And it's during sleep that your brain detoxes itself. And we find that if your brain can't detox and clean out waste, they accumulate and they lead to dementia. So sleeping for 6 to 8 hours per night is essential for you to have memory going into your old age. That's good. You want to also look at stress management.
Before we go to stress management, Doc, I'm so sorry. Is it possible to oversleep and it creates a negative effect as well?
Yes, we find that sleeping more than 8 hours per day is not productive, is not helpful. There are no benefits, and there may be downsides to doing it. So you will affect your metabolic rate and your thyroid function and so on by sleeping too much. So you want to keep it in a 6 to 8 hour region. When you have babies and kids growing, they need a little more. They need the 8, 9, 10 hours. But as you turn adults, your requirement is about 8 hours, and that's pretty much where you get the maximum benefit. Beyond that, it's not beneficial.
Hear you.
All right, so we continue now with things you can do. You want to basically be practicing what we call brain boosting techniques. So these are things that you do to exercise your brain. And they include playing games that involve strategy, like chess and, Ludo and so on, that we Jamaican family knows. Huh?
Scrabble?
Yes, man. Any brain,
puzzle?
Anything that makes you think is going to help your brain to develop. So that's one. Two, you probably want to practice writing things down. That helps. You want to practice to use both hands. So if you're driving, training your brain to use your left hand is a way of growing your brain. Training your brain to learn a new language, do things in a different way. These cause your brain to grow and form new connections which enhance memory. These are very important things to do. You want to look at your supplements. There are supplements and vitamins that you can take that will prevent and slow down dementia. And the top ones are going to be your B vitamins, right? Your B complex vitamins, they are very important. Your omega-3, very important. And in Jamaica, we are blessed with coconut. Coconut oil contains something called MCT, or medium chain triglyceride. And it has been shown in research in England to be reversing cases of dementia. So we Jamaica need to be taking our coconut oil very seriously and go coconut milk, using that to replace the dairy.
Yes.
Dairy which contains saturated fat, which make your memory worse.
30 seconds, Dr. Thomas. 30 seconds out.
Your memory is your whole life, Jamaica. You need to preserve it by exercising, eating properly, managing your stress,
sleep,
and avoiding things that are going to damage you, like smoking and alcohol and brain injury.
And 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Definitely. That's a big one right there.
Okay. And of course, involving in games that would, exercise your brain.
That's brain exercise right there. Yes,
All
sir.
right. See, I remember, Doc. Not doing too badly.
Not bad at all. Keep that looking at the system, man. I slept last night. Very good.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Thomas. Interesting, informative discussion. Have a good day.
You too, sir.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. I am Dylan Toussaint, giving a shout-out to the pastor and members of the Shiloh Apostolic Church in Old Harbor as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Jokal Dyer.
The Morning Watch was brought to you today by Chris and Charles. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Do your future a favor. Start planning your retirement early with the JN Individual Retirement Scheme. Contact the JN Life Insurance agent today. The time is
8:01 a.m. and it's now time for Forward in Faith, brought to you by the Portman New Testament Church of God in Bayside.
The Lord will return to this earth some sweet day, or sorrow will then all be o'er. The Master so gently will lead us away to heaven's blessed glorious shore. I'm living my
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Forward in Faith. Forward in Faith is brought to you by the Portman New Testament Church of God. What a message the Spirit of the Lord has been delivering through his servant, Reverend Orain Williams. This is my vow, my God. Just a reminder, it is in the book of 2 Timothy 4:1-8. Vows, the man of God says, seems to have lost their meaning and weight. In times past, they meant everything, but now it is as though it means nothing. But God's standard for vows have not changed, listeners. So don't follow the status quo. Stick to your vows. Troubles and crosses in your way, stick to your vows. Though he slay you, trust God and stick to your vows. After this song of worship, we head back to hear more from Reverend Williams.
We're an anchor for those who are hurting. We're a harbor for those who are lost. Sometimes it's not always easy bearing Calvary's cross. We've been ridiculed by those who don't know him, mocked by those who don't believe. Still I love standing up for my Jesus, 'cause of all that he's done for me. That's why I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. No, I'm not afraid to be counted, and I'm willing to give my life. See, I'm ready to live what he wants me to be. Give up my life for the ride. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. No, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
He's saying it that Timothy could
understand that guess what? The time is now for me. And if it's the time for me, it's now the time for you. What is he saying here? He continues and says, for I am already being poured out as a drink offering. This was an imagery which came from the Old Testament sacrificial system. You see, as commanded in the book of Numbers, the people of Israel, as well as Gentiles who lived among them, were the first to give a burnt offering of a prescribed animal, then a grain offering, and then finally the sequence of offering ended, Sister Kerry, with the drink offering. So after the burnt offering, after the prescribed animal, stick with me, I'm going somewhere, and then you had the grain offering, what was last to be offered was the drink offering. While writing to Timothy, Paul already was being poured out as a drink offering, which was his final offering to the Lord, who had sacrificed himself for the apostle and for all people in all ages. You see, Paul could not give any more even if he wanted to. So when he's saying he is now being poured out, he is saying that I have given down to my very last sacrifice. Help me, Jesus. Hallelujah. He's saying that I have given all that I can, and now at this stage in my life, Sister Karen, all that is left is what is in my cup, and I am now being poured out. I have given all that I can. I have stuck to my vows. Thus, as he had offered himself to the Lord as a living and holy sacrifice acceptable to God while he was alive, he was now offering himself to the Lord in his death. Hallelujah. With all parts of his life and all seasons, Paul decided that his vow must be maintained. Hallelujah. That is why he says in Philippians chapter 2, verse 16 to 17, holding firmly to the word of life, so that on the day of Christ I can take pride, because I did not run in vain nor labor in vain. But even if I am being poured out as a drink offering upon this sacrifice, he's talking about his last days. Hallelujah. He says, but even if I am being poured out as a drink offering upon this sacrifice and the service of your faith, I rejoice and share my joy with you all. You see, brothers and sisters, Paul's commitment was to the end. I want to ask you this morning, this may not necessarily be one of those popular messages, because it's time for us to take a stock and do some check off. Where are you? Where does your commitment end? Where does our till death do us part end with Jesus? Go ahead, preacher, preach. Where does your till death do us part with Jesus end? For some of us, it ends on a Sunday morning after we leave this place. That is where my death will end. I have bills to pay. I have people to feed. I have things to do. I don't have any time to die for God. Help me, Holy Some of us, our death do us part, till death do us part, ends when we get to the workplace, because there is somebody at the workplace that we're trying to impress over God. Help me, Holy Ghost. There is somebody in the community that we're trying to show off on, and so instead of saying, I will serve God till I die, which means a life of holiness and righteousness, what happens is I take up my holiness on Sunday morning, I put it down on a Monday morning, I leave it to stay clean until Sunday morning again, then I take it up, brush it off, and carry it to church. Where does our death till death do us part? Where does it end? For some of us, it ends right at our marriage, because we know that once we get to the point of our marriage, I am not dying for that spouse. Help me, Holy Ghost. For some of us as children, we say, God, my till death do us part is until I can get the entertainment I want. Once I don't have that entertainment, then guess what? I am not willing to die. Till death do us part. Here is Paul in a dark prison, and I hope somebody can imagine it with me. Here is Paul in a place where he no longer has his freedom. He's chained to walls, and he's chained to other people. He's surrounded by guards, and he's imprisoned for doing nothing wrong. The only thing that he did was preach the gospel. Here is this man that is locked up, tied up in a dark place, yet he's saying, I am being poured out because it's until death. And so, brothers and sisters, battle scars are the marks of the faithful soldier. Can I say that again? When you see battle scars, it's the mark of the faithful soldier. And so Paul had them in abundance. He was beaten times without number. He received from the Jews 39 lashes and was beaten with rods. He was stoned at least once and was shipwrecked at least 3 times. He spent a day and night in the deep, and he had experienced labor and hardship for the church through many sleepless nights. He went hungry and he was exposed to the cold, all for the vow. Yes, he went through persecution. He faced trials. There were crosses in his way. There were principalities and powers that he had to face. Yet he faced all of them, deacon, because he made a vow and he decided, I am not going to give up on this vow. I am going to stick to the commitment. I am going to give all that I have. I'm going to be what he wants me to be. I'm going to live and give until there's just no more to give. I'm going to love till there's just no more love, because I could never outlove the Lord. So it's until I die. God Almighty, hallelujah.
Yes, Reverend Williams, battle scars are the mark of a faithful soldier. Lest we forget, let me just repeat for emphasis. Paul recounts in 2 Corinthians 11, of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes save one. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep, in journeys often, in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils by my own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness. Again, we declare, we say that battle scars are the mark of a faithful soldier. So stick to your vows. Hallelujah. We pause it right there for today. Join us tomorrow for more. But until then, we do want to hear from you. So drop us a line at Forward in Faith, P.O. Box 48, Bridgeport, St. Catherine, or email us at goforwardinfaith@gmail.com.
In Jesus the Lord, trusting, confiding in His great love. From all one's days, in sheltering Lord, I'm giving my faith and fear no alone.
This is another emphasis on how important housing is. Your children need separate accommodations. Your daughters and your sons need separate accommodation. You as a parent, you need separate accommodation. Now listen, it doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to offer privacy. And I know how difficult it is. You might hear me say, how am I to get it? I know, but where am I to get it? You know, you have to really think. And in my case, I'd say you have to really pray. Because in an age like this one, we need to house our children properly to avoid the things which can happen that will eventually destroy their sexuality.
This Caribbean Family Tip was sponsored by Kairos Network.
This is exactly what I need.
CNWJ Credit Union has a lifestyle loan. Access your CNWJ CCU lifestyle loan anytime you need it. Whatever your reason, emergencies, special occasions, consolidated debt, or everyday expenses. Your lifestyle, your choice. Approval within 24 hours. Apply today. Get a CNWJ Credit Union loan. It's just what you need. Discover the benefits of belonging.
Downswell Records, in association with Best Dressed Chicken, presents the Kevin Downswell album launch and concert featuring John Mark Wiggins, Sarge, Alicia Taylor, Shane Mays, DJ Reaper, DJ Sticker, Jermaine Cohen, and O'Neal Watson. Tickets 7,000, VIP 10,000 with preferred seating and food. SpurOpen.com/the album launch, Saturday, July 1, 5:30 p.m. The Ambassadors, 63 Hagley Park Road, Kevin Downswell. This is a can't miss. Love 101 invites you to listen to Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Every first Thursday, listen for words of upliftment from the Lighthouse Assembly with Bishop Rowan Edwards. Every second Thursday at 10 p.m., listen for a word of encouragement from Moses Ministries International. That's Women of God in Service with Reverend Dr. Elaine Richards. Every third Thursday, receive words of strength and power from Praise Deliverance Ministry with Senior Pastor Fitzroy Carr. Every fourth Thursday, Reverend Leonie Samuels of the Richmond New Testament Church of God in St. Mary shares words of hope. For fifth Thursdays, it's words of inspiration from the New United Bible Way Church of God with Reverend Dr. Jasmine Brown. That's Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, every Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Of the color gray sardine, better flavor. Gray sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that's the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. You all of them nice. Pass the part, me push it.
Gray sardines follow the better flavor. Hey girl, it's me. Or maybe I should say the future you. Just shouting back in time to let you know our retirement's going great, just like you planned it. In fact, we're at the airport on our way to Italy.
Start planning early with a Jane individual retirement scheme. Retirement lasts longer than you think.
Oh, by the way, that boy line is not the one. Just letting you know from now. See you later.
Do your future a favor. Make sure you're in a position to enjoy retirement. Contact Jane Life Insurance today.
As a flow technician, the best part of the job is connecting families and communities to the internet, and we're committed to delivering the service you deserve. We are addressing your challenges. Our team has proactively visited over 10,000 homes to ensure that you have a reliable experience inside and out, and we are not stopping there. My name is Cleveland, and I'm a proud flow technician.
Everything we are doing is inspired by our harshest critic. You join Jamaica's Fiberfast network and rediscover flow today.
Waiting for all night. Darwin, where are you? How many know that God is able to do exceedingly, abundantly above all you could ask or think? According to the power that worketh in us.
Hallelujah. How many believe it tonight? Somebody turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor, he's able. Tell somebody else, he's able. Y'all ready? All you could ask for, according to the power that worketh in you. God is able to do just what he said he would do. It's gonna fulfill every promise to you. Don't give up on God, 'cause he won't give up on you. He's able. How many believe it tonight? Yeah. He's able. Thank you, Jesus. Come on, y'all. I need y'all to help me sing. God. God is able to do just what he said he would do. He's gonna fulfill every promise. Yes. Don't give up on God. Tell somebody, 'cause he won't give up on you. He's able. Woo! I believe it tonight. Yeah. He's able. Somebody shout tonight. He's able. Hallelujah. We're going up. God. He's able to just what he said. He's gonna fulfill. Yeah. Every promise to you. Tell somebody, don't give up. Yes, he will. Here we go. He's able. Yeah. Somebody shout again. Here we go. He's able. Yeah. I'm going to sing this, and then y'all sing. Y'all sing. Come on, take it up. He's able. Y'all sing. Yeah. sing. Here we go. He's able. He's able. He's able. Yes, he is. I tried it. Anybody try it? He's able. He's able. Whatever he said, he's gonna do it. Whatever he promised, he's gonna do it. He's able. He's able. He's able. He's able. I'm sorry. He's able. He's able. He's able. Somebody sing it. He's able. Yes, he is. He's able. Yes, he is. He's able. How did he know? He's able. He's not a man. Let me lie. Whatever is done, he's gonna do it. Don't give up on God. Hallelujah. Don't give up on God. Anybody ever wanted to give up? Has anybody ever wanted to throw in the towel? Anybody know God to be able? Don't give up on God when He won't give up on you. He's able. If you know He's able tonight, give Him a praise. If you know He's able, yeah, everybody say, oh. Everybody, He's able. Say this is journey in words. Yeah, with God everything is gonna be alright. Yeah, say put a smile on your face, let me know you are carry a heavy load. Get up and fix yourself, you got things to do, let's keep going. Come with me, get up out your struggles and your pain and just feel it, that everything is gonna be alright. Oh, Father's God. So we'll leave my times you can chop me, but him just cannot stop me. Him close one door, one many more open. Jesus tell me never in my life I just purpose. Kingdom life say you can't stop me, you not my born of the island, show your powder. Please protect my life, me I beg you please. Watch over me, yeah. Watch over me, please, me I beg you. Watch over me, yeah. Protect me on the journey. Father, I just have to give you praises from my heart, because you wake me every day and give me a fighter. Yeah, I can never forget. You protect my life and you keep my family. Oh, Father God, I am nothing for your mercy, too good and kind. Please protect my life, me I beg you, please. Watch over me, yeah. Watch over me, please. Me I beg you, watch over me, yeah. Protect me on the journey, yeah.
Holtz Hardware and Supplies, the leader in electrical building and everything for the home. St. John's Road, Spanish Town. The time by Holtz Hardware and Supplies is
8:30.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you are going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So take time on the road. Arrive alive.
A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
The Healthy Way today is brought to you by the Ministry of Economic and Growth and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership, economic growth, and sustainable development. Today, we're going to be talking about xeroderma, also known as dry skin. What is dry skin? Dry skin is skin that doesn't have enough moisture in it to keep it feeling soft. The medical term for dry skin is xeroderma. Xerosis is severely dry skin. Dry skin feels like rough patches of your skin that can flake or look scaly. And if your skin is dry, it may or may not be itchy. Severe skin may also crack and bleed. What are the types of dry skin? Well, you have contact dermatitis, and then you have eczema. You also have athlete's foot, and then this is called seborrheic dermatitis. So, contact dermatitis occurs when something comes into contact with your skin that causes an irritant or allergic reaction. Your skin may be dry, itchy, and red, and you may also have a skin rash. Some examples include jewelry metals, cosmetics, detergents, or medications. Eczema. This is a group of skin conditions that cause red, dry, bumpy, and itchy patches of skin. Severe forms can cause cracking of your skin, which makes you more prone to infection. This common skin condition can worsen with irritants, allergens, and stress. As for the seborrheic dermatitis, this is dry skin on your scalp, and it can be the result rather, of a condition known as dandruff in adults or cradle cap in infants. Seborrheic dermatitis can also cause dry, flaky skin patches on your face, chest, and inside the creases of your arms. legs, and also your groin. Less commonly, it can also affect your navel. This type of dermatitis occurs when your body reacts to a normal yeast or to normal yeast that grows on your skin. And athlete's foot. This can mimic dry skin on your feet, but a fungus causes it. When this fungus grows on your body, it's called ringworm. People who have athlete's foot may have dry, flaky skin on the soles of their feet. Who does dry skin affect? Dry skin is common and affects nearly everyone at some point in their life. You might be more at risk of getting dry skin if you live in a dry or cold climate, if you work outside often, if you wash your hands frequently, if you have another health condition like allergies, and if you are 65 years or older. Symptoms of dry skin. The symptoms include your skin being cracked, rough, tight, flaking, scaling, itchy, or it can be lighter or darker than your normal skin tone, or even red to purple. If you have severely dry skin, a rash could develop on your skin. The different color or the rash could have a small pimple or pimple-like bumps, and they can be itchy, swollen, or be a different color than the skin around it, usually red to purple. The medical term for this rash is dermatitis, which is another word for skin swelling and inflammation. Now, where in your body can have dry skin? Your hands, your feet, your face, your elbows, around your mouth, genitals, and your legs. You can test your skin at home to see if you have dry skin by lightly dragging your fingernails across your skin. When you do this, make sure you don't put any pressure on your skin with your fingernails and avoid scratching yourself. This test works well on your arms or legs where you have a large surface area of skin. When you perform this test, look at your skin and see if it flakes. Flaking skin is a sign of dry skin. This could look like tiny snowflakes or dust. You might even see a light mark on your skin that's similar to a line on a chalkboard where you performed this test. Now, what causes it? A lack of moisture. A lack of moisture within the layers of your skin causes dry skin. Now, factors that cause dry skin include age, climate, health conditions, and genetics, occupations, just to name a few. Dry skin can be treated by using moisturizers and also taking medications. When choosing a moisturizer, remember that your skin is unique and a product that works for someone else might not be the best for you and your skin, right? So your healthcare provider or your dermatologist can help you choose skincare products designed for you and your skin. And that's the end of our Healthy Way Healthy Way topic on Zero Derma, also known as dry skin. The Healthy Way was brought to you today by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership, economic growth, and sustainable development. And that's the end. All right, so we learned about dry skin. Ensure that you go ahead to moisturize, and if you're not able to moisturize, sometimes you can't moisturize a lot because of how hot outside is, and then by the time you go outside, they start sweat. So what I'm going to advise you is just to get some moisturizer with sunscreen also, because the time is hot, your skin can become dry, and I'm experiencing that right now on my neck. So I had to ensure that I moisturized my neck before coming out into the open air, because it will dry up fast and then it itches and it's uncomfortable. So yeah, let's all moisturize our skin, not because we live on the land of wood and water, you understand? So let's just all be safe. All right, and moisturize. All right, that's the end of our healthy way tip. Let's take a break and then we come back with some more. You're listening to Love 101, the family station.
When a man loves a